This coming Tuesday, January the 25th, the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra will kick off their much anticipated annual New Music Festival. There are 3 concerts this year with limited socially distanced seating capacity of 250 people. However, you can also see the concerts online, and of the concerts, you can see them from the comfort of your own home. The first concert of this year's New Music Festival is called Digital Landscape. With this concert, the New Music Festival veers into the world of technology, mathematics, and social commentary with an eclectic program of Canadian works. One of the main performers at the January 25th concert is Winnipeg-based percussion phenom Ben Reimer. He'll be playing works of Canadian composers Elliott Bennett, Nicole Zay, and Harry Staphylakis. And here to talk to me about this concert is Ben Reimer. Hey, Ben, how's it going?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
It's nice to reconnect.
Absolutely.
I know you just recently returned from Montreal to Winnipeg, and you already have a big gig with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. How did the concert come about? Did the orchestra reach out to you, or tell me how this concert came about for you?
Yeah, I originally was contacted by Harry Staphylakis, the composer in residence and one of the organizers of the Winnipeg New Music Festival, and a friend of mine as well, and like-minded metalhead, found, lost in the world of contemporary chamber music. And anyways, but he contacted me to play his solo, Therein Lies the Enemy, which is the last piece on this program. So then it sort of moved from there. Elliott Bennett, another friend of mine, actually, I commissioned, my first commission ever was with him back in, almost 20 years ago, I would say by now. And so they were hoping to program a piece of his that was a piano duo with percussion. So then it made sense for me to do that one as well. And then the whole thing sort of morphed into a focus on drum kit in contemporary music with the addition of Nicole Zay's katana of choice.
Nice. Sounds great. One of the things I always think about whenever I think about musicians performing with the New Music Festival is I've heard stories that there very often isn't a lot of time to prep pieces before you're going to perform them. What was the lead time like for you for this concert? How much lead time did you have for each one of the 3 pieces?
That's private information. No, Harry's, I've known that I was going to be playing it for quite a while, but also the reality is, as a musician, is you don't just get that booking and then have, say, 3 months to practice it. You have other things that you have to do first. So, you make these schedules for yourself. You have to be here and be doing this piece by December. So then I kind of have Harry's sort of waiting, I sort of schedule it all in. So but I knew about that one for quite some time. The nature of the pandemic and the festival right now is there's been a few kind of quick switches. So Katana of Choice was just recently, we decided to add that on, but I've played it before, I've recorded it. So it was relatively familiar to me. So it's just been a lot of fun getting to kind of bury myself down in my basement and get ready for the festival.
It's great. Okay, I want to talk about the music, and I thought we'd start with the Elliott Bennett piece, this piece, Hyperscale Landscape. I very often associate Elliott's music, not always, but he regularly will have an electroacoustic element to his music. What is this piece like, and does it make use of electroacoustic music?
Yeah, there are a lot of natural sounds, which for the music I've played of Elliott's as of recently, it's a little bit different because a lot of times there are a lot of like aggressive electronics and things, but there's crickets and the sound of fields and all that kind of stuff happening. But there's also it was originally performed by an orchestra. There was a bigger work, so there's recording bits of the orchestra parts as well, and you can hear some of the percussion parts and things in the background while we're playing, while Naomi Wu and I are playing.
Nice. So yeah, which sort of leads to my next question. Are you playing kit for Elliott Bennett's piece for that piece? And Naomi Wu is going to be playing the piano part for that piece as well, right?
Yes. Yeah, and the kit for this one, in some ways, I'm trying to make it not sound like a typical drum set. So I'm doing things like instead of playing right on the snare drum, I'm actually putting some bowls with marbles on it, and I'm actually hitting those maybe with chopsticks. So it's they're using the role of the kit in similar ways that we're used to, but I'm sort of preparing it in ways that blend with the track, and that's come out of conversations with Elliott and sort of getting an understanding of the textures and sort of where the piece was sort of sitting sonically.
Oh, wow. How does the piano and the kit work together?
It's really, it's a gorgeous piece, and I believe it's opening the program, and it's so perfect for that because it's just going to kind of warm everybody in. Yeah, Naomi's part, it's sometimes she's in the foreground, sometimes I am. Sometimes we're kind of playing together in sort of grooves and melodic lines, and it's really interactive throughout the whole piece.
Oh, it sounds great. The next piece that I want to talk about is Nicole Zay's piece, Katana of Choice. First of all, the title. Where does the title come from?
Well, it's definitely influenced by martial arts movies. She describes the piece as a visual novel, which I love because as you sort of go through about 19 minutes of this music, there are these sort of scenes, these chapters that you can kind of hear an end to one chapter and moving on to another, and the textures change, different elements come to create different characters. There's even some sort of like nods to Wu-Tang Clan. There's a lot of elements of sort of iconic grooves from drum kit history. So you'll hear little bits of maybe like a Steve Gadd paradiddle groove, who's Steve Gadd's an iconic studio drummer. But instead of me playing the snare drum, I'm playing, oh, actually I have it right here, this little chaos pad in replace of the snare. So she sort of recontextualizes iconic moments or familiar things and makes it into something new.
It's so, I don't want to say typically Nikki, but it is, because a lot of her music will very often make use of these drum loops and turntables. Is there some of that in this piece as well, or?
There's no turntables. The original formation of the piece, which was commissioned by Torque Percussion Quartet in Toronto, was for a drum kit concerto for me with Percussion Quartet. So the track that you're hearing is actually is Torque, who's given us permission to, and for me to numerous times use this track as a play along, really, and then to sort of create a new existence for the work, not just me playing along. Nikki made a whole video that goes along with this sort of new rendition of it as well. But yeah, the percussion Torque, they play synthesizers, some various sort of electronic devices, a lot of vocals. We all play a guitar. You can see mine sitting here that runs through a delay pedal. So I'm hitting that within the kit while I'm playing. It's one of the drum kit instruments and extended techniques and things like that.
Oh, it sounds just great. The last piece that you're going to be playing is music of the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra's composer in residence, Harry Stafilakis. The piece is titled "Therin Lies the Enemy." You touched on this a little bit earlier. I know Harry is a big lover of metal. Are there elements of metal in this piece?
Yeah, 100% metal, the gent sort of style, kind of prog metal, all throughout. That all my kit playing is that. But he also brings in glockenspiel as well. So there's some pitched elements that I'm just playing kind of melody. But it's very much from that sound world and from that kind of playing world. And I guess for this piece and Nikki's in particular, that really do draw from grooves from the drum kit tradition. And Elliott's does a little bit, but because of the preparedness, we're sort of not quite as aware of it. But they're so in tune with this instrument and the history of it and all the different players that have come before, that the writing is it's not sort of a mimic of it. It really embodies these sounds. Like it's all kind of, there's no sort of separation anymore in my mind with drum kit, with metal, with classical, with, it's just performing.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
which is, I think, is awesome. Yeah.
And how early did you get the music before you had to prepare Harry's piece?
I've had it for a while. Yeah. I didn't necessarily have time to work on it the whole time, but yeah. But it's we were just conversing this morning. I sent him a video of me playing through it I'll be posting a little sneak peek on my my social media probably later today or tomorrow. But it's ready to go and it feels very good. Yeah.
Super cool. It sounds like the concert on the 25th is going to be super great. If there was one thing that you wanted an audience member to take away from the concert, what would it be of the three pieces that you're playing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it is just being introduced to this instrument that we generally associate, like the drum kit, we associate with popular music forms, whatever that might mean to you, from jazz to rock to, you know, it's been part of all those forms over the last 100 years and more of developing music, but we don't think of it as an instrument in the classical world, if for lack of a better word. But for the last 15 years I've been doing concertos and chamber music, solo music, all within this context of contemporary modern art, classical music. I never really know which word to settle on, but that this instrument is being written for through composed, fully notated music, and there's a whole repertoire there for it that's really exciting. So I think that's what I'm hoping to introduce to more people. And I've actually never been able to do like Katana. I've played across Canada and the US. I've never played it here in Winnipeg. So I'm really excited to bring that and these other pieces to a Winnipeg audience.
Ben, it's been great reconnecting again and chatting about the opening concert for the Winnipeg New Music Festival on January the 25th. Thanks so much for chatting with me today. This has been great.
Thank you so much for having me, and hope to see you all there, or feel your presence via streams.
Excellent. Excellent. For our Classic 107 listeners, if you want more details about the WMNF, please go to our website, classic107.com. The in-person attendance, as I was saying, is 250 socially distanced patrons, but you can see the Winnipeg New Music Festival online from the comfort and safety of your own home. Once again, that's classic107.com. Ben, thanks again.
Thank you.